Apparently, everyone's completely lost their shit because Bernie Sanders was asked to talk at a women's march.
Holy
talk.
crap. Yeah, so my understanding is that, and I've read quite a few articles about this, and I'll tell my little story, and if you want me to, unless you got more to say about this, but
No, I to be honest, man, I don't want to talk about this at all. So we have to tread so lightly. People have really, really like
flipped
kind
out.
of stuck their flag in the ground on this issue. They're like, no, this one, this is the thing. And it's not that it's not important and not that it's not an important discussion to have. I mean, give me a break. It's on the face of it, it looks like, Bernie Sanders, a male, is the main guy at the Women's March thing. And if that's truly the case, I have to agree that would be wildly inappropriate. Why would a man be the, but for starters, they asked Hillary, they asked Elizabeth Warren, and they asked Kamala Harris.
They did, and they all three declined. They all three declined. Right. Yes, and he's not the keynote speaker, dude. He's the guy that speaks on the first night.
Okay, that's right.
He's like the first night speaker. I don't even know who oh, wait a minute. I do know. It's Maxine Waters.
Yeah, Maxine Waters is actually.
And she's the congressman here from California.
Right.
And she's very vocal, and she's pretty progressive. I still believe she's heavily into the establishment. But,
well, right. This is a total
heavily established.
Right. No,
right.
This is all an establishment.
Well, this thing was all organized by the people from the Women's March. Okay, so. Right. Apparently they hit at Bernie Sanders, and he was like, yeah. And so here's about the article I read. First of all, that was the first thing I was going to say, is they asked Hillary. She's out on a book tour. She don't give a fucking shit, guys. She's selling her book. That's what she's fucking doing right now, whining and crying why she ain't in the White House. All right? They asked, the new progressive establishment, or the new face of a progressive establishment, which is Kamala Harris. And she declined. And then there's the old face of progressives is Liz Warren.
Right.
So
who I adore. Listen, I just want to say on Liz Warren real quick is everything that she does in terms of Wall Street, I've always liked it. It's like she's almost flawless when she cut in her rhetoric and even action and things and laws that she's tried to introduce in relation to Wall Street. She's on point. But I was really critical of her on our show when I felt like she sold out Bernie, and I always felt like she should have run. Like if she was really committed and devoted, and I think if she would have put her foot in the water in the beginning of the primary of 2012 or 2016, I think that she could have clinched it. I think she would have had a better chance than even Bernie and Hillary, and she didn't, and that always just kind of bothered me. And then
let's talk
when
about...
it came down, then let me just say this and then I'll be done. And then and when it came down to the fight between Bernie and Hillary, she really could have shifted if she'd have endorsed Bernie. If she'd have endorsed Bernie because of where they both stand on Wall Street. And so I premised all this by saying I have so much respect for her for everything in her rhetoric on Wall Street, but she backed Hillary, who, I mean, it lives literally up in the anal cavity of Goldman Sachs. That's like where her living room is. It's just way deep up their freaking butt. And so that I always had a problem with. So
you mean like Trump's cabinet?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so I get all that. I mean, they asked her to be there. She wasn't able to make it. Whatever, right? And the backlash on Bernie is that he is not good on women's rights. And I'm like, I don't, that was the argument, that he didn't come out for women's rights. And I'm like, well, I seem to remember him coming out for equal pay. He always talks about equal pay for women. And I'm like, that seems pretty, And then I got, well, here's the deal. You know what, man? Somebody like flipped out. One of my friends on Facebook flipped out over this. And I was like, wow. And I was like, just bashing on Bernie. And saying how if Bernie hadn't, how Hillary was blaming Hillary was blaming Bernie for saying that she was up Goldman Sachs' ass, which gave Trump the foot in the door to start calling her corrupt Hillary.
Right. So let me just say,
so they're blaming Bernie for that.
Let me say real quick, and then I'll let you get back in your point, Mike. Is that like this topic of Bernie at the Women's March thing has really drudged up all the like Bernie bros rhetoric and Bernie's against Black Lives Matter bullshit nonsense.
That was one of the things that was brought up as well.
Right, and when has he ever cared about women's rights? And like, so this whole thing that Bernie is an anti-black, like a
Women.
sexist,
yes. Yes, and see, this is what I'm going up against, and I'm like, okay, and I'm being thrown like all this stuff at. Well, he came out against Planned Parenthood, and I'm like, well, I don't remember him ever coming out against Planned Parenthood. So I start doubting some of them.
No, what I remember, let me say, all right, we'll check it out. I remember, and I'm not going to be able to get super specific, but I do remember that this was brought up during the primary. And what I remember the issue ultimately being was that, yes, he did vote against a bill that made him look like he wasn't supportive of Planned Parenthood. But if I remember correctly, he made a statement saying, yes, but there was all this pork or there was other amendments or things attached to that bill that were super counterproductive and that I just not in good conscience and in consistent integrity, I couldn't support that bill. I completely support
Planned Parenthood. I remember that. I do remember that. That's exactly what it was. And they'll, you know how Republicans will write bills and they'll make it look like it's about something, but they'll put in a bunch of bullshit under, and that was one of those things. And he's like, this is not about Planned Parenthood. He's like, I'm fully supportive, but I can't sign this with all this other bullshit on there.
So here's the thing, though. This thing with Bernie, and say this, and then maybe we can go ahead and move on, is that like it's just stirred up all this weird shit, man. It's stirred up all this stuff that we talked about just a minute ago about that were brought up during the primary season. All this like just totally wrong rhetoric about Bernie Sanders, like it's all bad. And they're all attached to it, and it's for the same reasons. It's so strange to me, Mike. And we've talked about this a lot on our show about, okay, everyone got behind Obama in 2008, and then they felt like they had to be loyal to him, and they went into full-on defend everything he does mode to sort of validate their choice to vote for him. And we do that a lot. And like, we were careful. We struggled with that in the beginning in supporting Bernie. We didn't want to be backers and followers of Bernie. Because we wanted to be open to, if he does things that we're critical of, to be critical. So it's like people went into such support. I'm with her. What a ridiculous campaign slogan. And to me, offensive campaign slogan. I am not with any politician. They have to fucking be with me, man. And that's a problem right on its face. That they said, I'm with her. She's just a person and she's a politician. And they can't let go of this intense need to defend her. And guess what? The far right is totally exploiting that reality. And all they have to do is continue to talk shit on Hillary. And so many progressives and liberals flip their shit and can't handle it and are still defending Hillary Clinton, who, guess what? Her political career is over, bro. I mean, she's essentially retired. She's going to write books and do speaking circuits for the rest of her life and be a consultant and shit.
Dude,
why is anyone defending a non-player in the political spectrum?
They think they're going to run her again. They think they might run her again. Although they are talking about Biden.
If they run Hillary Clinton, then the Democratic Party is just destroyed.
I don't understand, bro.
You know what, dude? I'm going to say this, bro. I'm going to liken, if you're out there defending Hillary Clinton at this point, all of her political stances aside, I'm not criticizing these people because of their reason, because of Hillary Clinton's political point, wherever you fall in that left, right, whatever. That aside, your fervor and your support of her at this point is very much akin to Trump's loyal base. It is so much akin to it. Because you are blindly supporting a woman or a politician, doesn't matter what her gender is, whatever, a politician who's just, there's no way she's going to run again. I think the only people who would think that is this core base of hers. I don't think anybody in DNC establishment circles is considering Hillary Clinton for 16.
Chelsea's up next
for 18. No, it's Kamala, it's Cory Booker, it's.
Oh wait, they're gonna run Michelle Obama.
Oh God. So anyway, it's just let Hillary go. She's not there for you.
Please let her go. Please let her go.